if you're somebody who is thinking about how you can get more out of yourself, if you're somebody who's thinking about how you can get more out of your organization, more out of your team, more out of your colleagues around you, if you're really thinking about, maybe it's not going so well for you right now and you're jumping on and listening to the Kobe Simmet audio experience on Spotify or your favorite podcast platform. I think we're on Google Casts, where your favorite podcasts are. So welcome back to the Kobe Simmet audio experience. In this episode, we're talking about how a business coach has helped me get a lot out of this business, really turn this business around, and how having somebody mentor you. So I guess it's like a mentor. I'm going to stop swinging on my chair. Sorry, everybody. Start thinking about how a mentor can really help you, or mentors can help you. So all the different types of mentors. So I thought I'd get on today and talk about my experience working with a business coach, talk about that, work out what that looks like for you guys, and then have you understand how our team of business coaches might be able to help you, or our team of mentors might be able to help you with your goals for the remainder of 2020 and the remainder of or into 2021. As always, I really enjoy seeing where you guys are watching from. Luke and Cam have given me a dashboard. They're in the studio helping me this morning. Massive thanks to those two fellas for their work here behind the scenes. So we're just getting a dashboard organized so I can see your comments. And so, let me know where you are watching from. If you are watching after the recording, please still hit the comments there, either commenting on YouTube or LinkedIn if that's where you're watching live. We do go live twice a week. And also, if you are on the podcast and you're listening on the podcast, you've discovered the Kobe Simmet audio experience, then please jump across onto LinkedIn and start following me, and then you'll get the notifications as we're recording our podcasts live. So what I thought I'd do is share in this episode my journey with working with my business coach, Andrew Mckenzie. He's been a fantastic asset to the business here at Best Practice. Talk to you a little bit about the journey of how I met him, how that all came about. We can talk a little bit about, the kinds of fees that you can expect to pay different types of business coaches or mentors. It's been really interesting. I guess I've been in business now, running this business or running businesses for 20 years. I'm 45 years old. So I started running a business when I started working at a business that I ended up running when I was 15 years old. To put that in context for you guys, that's around about 1989, 1990. When I started, that was my first job to sort of start self-funding myself. And it was that small corner store, we did a little bit of takeaway food. We had some hire boats so people could, take a boat and go fishing on the river, and also some groceries. So a little grocery store, takeaway food, corner store kind of place in the little fishing village that I grew up in. And it was really interesting to work at that business. I just stuck it out, worked weekends, school holidays, summer, for this lovely organization, and I really loved doing it. I loved working with people, loved working with customers, and I guess that person, the lady there was Karen Pinney. She was my first mentor, I guess, and an absolutely lovely lady helping out in the lovely little village of Cottage Point. Now, I guess what I did was, obviously I have an ability to adopt the positive behaviors of people around me. Fortunately, I didn't sort of unconsciously adopt some of the negative behaviors. Maybe I did, but I can definitely recall some of the positive ones, and also seeing what people were responding to. And so as a mentor, in terms of helping me on my journey, keeping me grounded, keeping me solid, and keeping me focused on my goals, she introduced me to a guy by the name of Tony Robbins way back in 1991. And she gave me all these cassette tapes to listen to motivate me. So Tony Robbins would probably have been my very first mentor, at an age when I was, able to be influenced. And so I want you to start to think about, in terms of the first port of call for you guys and the first tip this morning, is start thinking about, people you like listening to, and it's the concept of reaching up. Who can you reach up to listen to? And of course, I appreciate you, all you guys, for listening to me. And so that is something to start to think about when you're looking for a mentor, you're looking for a business coach, then jumping on and starting to listen to me and listen to what I've got to say, if what I'm doing is something that resonates with you and you want to achieve. I've definitely achieved some levels of success in my life, and it's definitely something that I can share with you. So I can tell you that some of the things that I do work. I can obviously share some of the things that I do that don't work. So I can give you a bit of coaching. But in this session, I wanted to talk to you about the value of having a business coach. I like to talk in analogies, as lots of you understand. So there is an analogy of, in terms of health and fitness, and we can all resonate with that concept. We can all go for a run by ourselves. You can literally, put on some clothes. You don't even need shoes. You can leave the front door and you can go outside and you can basically go outside and do some running. You don't need anybody to help you. It's only going to be what's between your two ears that's going to motivate you. Your brain's going to motivate you to keep you running. You can do that by yourself. You can then jump onto YouTube and you can maybe get some tips on how to run more efficiently, more effectively, or to get the benefit, prevent injury. So prevent bad things happening and help you achieve your goals. You can maybe go to a class and you can go join a group, or you can get an individual to help you. And then you can maybe do some intense training with a running coach. So what I'm basically putting forward to you there is business is no different, and working either as a business and a business owner or an entrepreneur, or as a manager or somebody just in your career. I think it is very important to, at particular points in time, have somebody come in and actually give you some very focused, very customized, very personal recommendations and advice to suit you and your circumstances, and work on the very specific problems that you've got. So that takes me back to this concept. So, over the years, I've had different advisors come in and give advice and give support. I found that I needed to learn at one point in time, and this is about 5 or 6 years ago, it's longer, it's about 8 years ago, learn in a group. And so I thought, I'm going to go and look for a group of people. So I went to a mentoring group. The organization was called 2020 Exchange. And I went into a group and I did 4 or 5 years with that group, and we were all similar business owners. So it was like community-based learning. Yes, there was a chairperson who chaired the meetings and maybe gave us specific topics to talk about, but I took a lot away from the different people that I was sitting with as we were sharing stories, and I was thinking about, what can I take away from these conversations and implement in my business or in my career? What can I improve on? For me, that cemented this saying that we talk about here at Best Practice, which is you become the average of the people that you hang out with. So goal number 2 for you is to, if there are some specific problems that you've got or challenges you've got in your career, either with your business or just generally in your career as a manager or somebody who's participating in a team, you become the average of the people you hang out with. So my question to you is, who can you add to your group of people that you hang out with, maybe on a monthly basis? It doesn't have to be all of the time. Who can lift your average? And that'll be the first thing. So the first value is that somebody's going to help you lift your average. Now, that's not going to cost you anything. It's just about looking around your network and figuring out who could you spend a little bit more time with, who could you spend a little bit less time with, so that your average increases. And that is fundamentally important, and that should continue to happen through your whole life. Bringing it back to the very specific question of where does a business coach add value, is that I specifically chosen and pay someone to come and hang out with me. And because I pay that person, they specifically look at the problems and we analyze those problems together. And I appreciate there is a saying that it's lonely at the top as a CEO or a leader of an organization, but I think it's lonely everywhere. I think we all can all get lonely in our own heads about getting some direction and getting some advice. And even, it would take a 5-star parent to not let the shit that's in their head parent a child properly. So I don't even think that, parents are, you can have good and bad parents, and they've got their own shit going on in their heads. And so even then it can be a challenge for kids. It can be a challenge for kids and getting the right parenting and right advice. So what we can do is we can start to look for a high performance coach, and we can, there's obviously what you pay for is what you get. I've spent in the range of anywhere from, and it's business, so I appreciate it's going to sound like a lot of money, but anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 per month. But a good business coach might just, charge $100 or $200 an hour, and it might be 1 hour a month or 1 hour a quarter if you can afford $100 or $200 to start getting some very specific and focused advice. You want to, like you would be interviewing somebody for a team, you want to interview people, you want to challenge them, and you want to give them a very clear brief about what you expect, what does success look like. So, in the context of what we're talking about with a business coach or any sort of career coach, you really want to be specifically saying, I'm going to pay you $100 and I'm going to be, by the end of our session of $100, I've got the potential to earn another $100 more. So I get my money back. And in fact, I want to make a profit on that. So you should be starting to think about a business coach or a career coach is going to give you upside in the form of earning potential, and then pushes you to execute so that you actually can realize that gain. So the realization of the return on investment. So that's a technical term for today, the realization, which is the minute that the money goes into your bank account from your increase in earnings. And it could come from a number of different sources as a consequence of making an investment. So I can tell you that a big failing that I've had is not valuing this kind of stuff. So yes, I can read the books. Yes, I can watch the videos. Yes, I can do the reading. In my own head, I can be yes, yes, yes. But if I haven't got skin, me personally, if I haven't got skin in the game, if I haven't paid for it, then I'm unlikely to actually get the return that I'm looking for. So that's the one thing that, the third tip, if I'm up to 3, I think, with, looking at a coach or looking at somebody to give you career advice on specific challenge that you've got, you start to think about, you do need to pay for it. You do need to pay for it because there's an energy, it's energetic. If you haven't got skin in the game, you haven't made an investment, you might have made some investment of time, you might have made some investment of, of resources, you might have, taken the time to do it. But unless you actually have an investment, then you're going to be, if you've got the investment, you're more likely to go and execute the advice. So at this point in time, right now, in this moment, you're the smartest you've ever been. You are the most knowledgeable you've ever been. You've learnt the most that you've ever learnt. You're in the best position to execute on all of that knowledge that you have. So you can then go and consume more knowledge, and then you do need to make a decision. You need to make a decision on, yes, that's an area that I need to, yes, that's a weakness or it's a pain point. That's an area I need to improve. Or you need to then go and say, okay, here's a goal that I've got. What's your goal? I've got a goal to be a better leader. So I'm reading tons of books on leadership, on management, and how I can get more out of my team. So for example, right here on the table, there's obviously lots of great books. There's, behind us, there's Good to Great here over my shoulder by Jim Collins. The book that I'm getting into at the moment is this book here, which is Focal Point by Brian Tracy. So I've talked about that with, in some of our sessions recently. That's going to help our team members. Let me just get that in focus for you guys. I think it's back here somewhere. So with Focal Point by Brian Tracy, I bought about 20 copies of this and I've been distributing it around our team so that I can help people learn and understand and improve as they go with their careers. So we can set goals together and then they can use the advice in that book. I'm not as good at giving advice as I want to be. Brian Tracy is far better. So I brought Brian Tracy into our office as a mentor in the form of a book. Now these books are $30. And so I've probably bought 20 of these. So, for what are we talking, $600, in terms of probably spending on those and a couple of other books in the last month, by just even 5 or 10% of the knowledge that's in that book going into our team and having our team execute on those elements, I'm going to see an uplift. So I'm going to see people take on more responsibility. I'm going to see people happier. I'm going to see people more focused. I'm going to see people more excited, more passionate, more grateful that they're achieving their own goals and more likely to achieve their own goals. And so I think that's a good thing. And so coming back to this question of how business coach can help, Brian Tracy in this instance via this book is coaching people in this organization, but it's not specific advice. It's generic advice. And then, you've got to focus on how do I make this relevant? Excuse me for one moment. So then I want you guys to start to think about. So back to my business coach, Andrew Mckenzie. Andrew and I have been working together for about, I think it's 4 or 5 years. I think it's actually 4 very specifically as a business coach here with me at Best Practice. Previous to that, he was the chairperson of a mentoring group that I went to for about 12 months, but in a bigger group, like in a bigger network for the time before that. When Andrew walked in the door here at Best Practice, he saved us about $300,000 in the first month. He was able to take $300,000 worth of cost out of our business in the first month. Now, from my perspective, I think I probably paid under $10,000 in the first couple of months. and I got a $300,000 return for that. So if you need to hear numbers, going into a conversation and thinking about who might be a good person to be a business coach, who might be a good person to help you, is starting to look at for you, what does success look like? Starting to think about the very specific problems and challenges that you've got. So when you start thinking about talking to a business coach or considering a career coach, then that person needs to have a network. They need to be able to, they're not going to solve all of the problems, but they're going to maybe know more people. So they're going to be an extension to your network. There's going to be other people, other referees, other clients, other people that they're working with that might be able to help solve some of the challenges that you've got. So they're going to facilitate access to a bigger network for you. They are the average of the people that they hang out with. And then your average is going to lift because you're hanging out with this business coach that's there to coach you and help you and mentor you. So for me, getting access to other resources. So over time, Andrew has introduced me to finance people, to lawyers. The commercial law firm and lawyer that he introduced me to is now our commercial lawyers for our bigger family group of companies. And they do great work for us. So we had some specific legal challenges. He helped with that. As a business coach, he has helped with some of my, personal matters, not like marriage counseling or life advice, but if there's business kind of financial issues that are happening outside of the business, he has helped me with tools and strategies to solve some of those problems as well. So I think from my perspective, I couldn't survive without him. I couldn't survive without having a good group of advisors, and the knowledge that is in other people's heads adds a huge amount of value to me. And every day I am learning more and more and consuming more and more knowledge and having that added to. So every day goes past because I'm adding more knowledge, I'm getting smarter and smarter, and I've got more access to resources. My business book library now is well over 500 books. So those are the kinds of principles that, yes, I got a lot from books, but having somebody come in and specifically challenge my thinking, specifically challenge my paradigms, specifically challenge, the points of view that I have and the context that I have, and show me, sometimes he'll show me problems that I didn't know that I had. And so he's like, hey, let's go and have a look at, inspecting in another area of the business or another area of my life in terms of what I'm thinking, and then, bring some attention to tools and strategies to start to solve those problems. So, it's somebody who's got my back. They're specifically engaged to be a coach. Coach infers it's performance improvement. So we do talk about numbers and we talk about the areas that we want improvement, but we can also talk about, leadership qualities, strategies, management strategies. And from time to time, he's also got in and he's also helped to teach in the organization. So we have 2 annual get-togethers here at Best Practice. COVID's kind of created a challenge for us this year. Fortunately, we got our conference in just before COVID hit us here in Sydney, Australia. So we were able to have our annual conference, had it early. But, I think for certainly the last 4 years, Andrew has presented to all of the team members that come to that conference. And I think this year it was well over 30 people that he presented to on strategies that help them with some of their issues. And if I think back to some of the presentations he's done, he's helped people, people in the business with their personal finances and understand personal financing, how to understand how to use debt to grow personal wealth with team members here at Best Practice. The subjects that he talks about at our conference is not for everybody, but it's certainly, I think it's been helpful to have someone come in, and it's not just me lecturing the team members all of the time. So if you dig deep into our YouTube channel, some of our vlog videos, you'll see Andrew, as a celebrity appearance in some of those videos, doing some of those presentations and talking about some of those things. He spoke at our annual conference for about 30 minutes earlier this year to all of the people, and we brought some external people into our annual conference this year. I think we had about 130 people come to that conference, which was really good. So, in terms of actually talking about this, let me know in the comments if you are watching live and you've come online and you've joined us here, even if you are from the Best Practice team, any of the Best Practice team members that's watching. I think I can see a few people on YouTube and a few people on LinkedIn. Let us know in the comments, has Andrew Mckenzie, the Best Practice business coach, how has he helped you? Is there something specific he said or he's thought about, or any of those points of view? So I think that the one thing that I want to start to touch on and bring some light to this is the question did come up, and in fact, Vanessa and I were chatting about, what we should talk about in this session for you guys today is that Vanessa was talking about, what is the value of a business coach? So the business coaches here at Best Practice or Next Practice, not only do they help you with contextual problems, but they also help with a system. So they are following a program and a strategy, and we use this program here, Scaling Up. And so it's the Scaling Up link. Lucia's getting some photos for Instagram. The Scaling Up program and this book by Vern Harnish and the Rockefeller Habits, we don't exclusively use that because we use lots of techniques and strategies, but this is the textbook, if you like, for the coaching program at Best Practice. So if you are somebody who wants if you're a business owner or you're a business leader or you're a general manager or a manager who wants to make a recommendation to your team around you, that the organization you're working for could grow, so you could increase profitability. There's some challenges with the financial stability of the organization because of the pandemic, or you are growing, so you want to lock in the types of customers you've got, you want to lock in the program that you're running, you want to lock in some of those elements, or you want to get more organized. The coaching program with Scaling Up at Next Practice really talks about helping with people. And Andrew Mckenzie's definitely helped me with that. He's helped me with systems and tools and processes, with people management, the challenges of getting the most out of people, helping people, growing people, developing people, or exiting people from the business. So, as you, move up in your career, so everyone listening to this, as you move up in your career, even if you're not a business owner, you're starting to, hear those elements that, the people management side of things. I can run conversations, past Andrew. I can validate if my thinking is, on the right track or correct, or maybe some empathetic strategies, with growing people, developing people, and managing people. Then, the strategy of the business. What's the execution strategy, the marketing strategy, the sales strategy? Andrew has come in and done some sales training with our sales team. Short tasters that help the sales team just unlock some bottlenecks in the business and help moving forward. So that's something to consider, and certainly the Scaling Up program with Next Practice includes that. Execution. Andrew holds me accountable. So we talk about goals, we talk about objectives, and he doesn't necessarily, I don't get in trouble if I don't deliver on something specific, but he says, oh, how's that? He follows up. He says, oh, how's that going? We thought that was a good idea. We agreed these were some of the things you'd implement. I just want to check in with you and see how that's going. And if I've forgotten about it, or I haven't worked on it, or I'm not doing it, then he will say, oh, what's the blockage? Is it time? Is it resources? Is it you don't want to do it? You're not sure how to do it? And he'll give me those gentle nudges. That's what a coach is there for, to help you. If you've got a coach at the gym, a personal trainer, help you lift properly, help you lift correctly, use the right techniques. So thank you, Stan. I appreciate that comment. So I want you to be starting to think about that you can get somebody to help you with execution. And then, the Scaling Up program talks about cash. So sort of along that journey, you've got people, strategy, execution, and cash in the Scaling Up program. Someone like Andrew Mckenzie is, I have an appetite for high performance from our organization, and I have a big vision for you and helping you and your organization out there. For everyone that's watching this, I've got big goals for you and your organization, and that's why we're trying to actually bring all this content together for you guys and put it out there. But the one thing, I appreciate is that some of the, initially it's like maybe, it's hard to justify in your head some of the big, what the big high performance professional coaches charge for their services. So somebody like Tony Robbins, as an example, in terms of high performance, they've got a business coaching program. It's $1 million a year for that coaching program. So you've got to be doing some pretty big numbers to be able to access that program. But you can see that the acceleration and the turbocharging. I think one of Tony Robbins' accredited coaches, they charge about $100,000 a year. So something like the Next Practice program is more accessible. That's why we've brought that down to a scale where you guys can sort of get into it and use it as a stepping stone where you might you might move into a much higher performance coaching program. And in fact, for $30, you can get the book. You can just go and buy it off Amazon or eBay. We don't even get a commission on that. And you can start the program yourself. But if you want someone to hold you accountable and actually push you because you know that you are destined for something greater, then the team at Next Practice is there to hold you accountable. Because in exchange for the money, like, it would be unethical of us at Next Practice to take that money and then basically have you not achieve your goals. So it's really about saying, well, if you want a locked in guarantee that you'll achieve your goals, then pay somebody to help you achieve it and hold them accountable for helping you achieve the goal in exchange for the money.
if that makes sense. So it becomes that, working together relationship. It's much easier to get out of bed and go and do exercise if you're going to do it with someone than it is by yourself. So that's something that I want you guys to be sort of thinking about and considering, is who can you pay, even if it's a small amount of money, to hold you accountable to achieve your goals, and hold them accountable to ensure that you achieve your goals for that exchange of cash. So I'm seeing some likes there, so I'm hoping that I'm talking about the right stuff. Have you guys got any questions? Like, I really want to talk about this experience. I want you guys to be really starting to think about, do you organize for somebody to come on board with you and give you some more mentoring? I've got lots of book recommendations. There's lots more coming out. Lots more book recommendations coming out for you guys. But I want you to start to think about, what would be a risk? I appreciate that, Nick Fagan. Thank you very much for that comment there on LinkedIn. So what would be, for you guys, how does this sound? What would be the downside to having, paying a career coach or a business coach? What would be the upside? What would success look like? So what is that success that you really want to achieve? And who could you get in a partnership with? Who could you work with to really help you achieve that goal? It's obviously the sum of the value is greater than the sum of the parts from these kinds of relationships. And I can honestly say that the work that I've done over the years with Andrew Mckenzie really has helped a lot. Even at the beginning of the pandemic, we weren't sure what kind of financial issues we were going to have. And so Andrew and I sat down and did a war room budget. He came in and he didn't even charge for that day. He came in, he sat with me, he said, we've been working together 4 years. It's in my interest to see you succeed, because it's on his record as well, because I'm one of his clients. And so we sat down, we did a really tight budget, and we really started moving forward. Nick Fagan's got a question there. What do you see as the barriers to starting with a coach? I think for myself, the first barrier I think I had an issue with was certainly the investment. And I think the time had to be right. I knew I needed to do it, but actually it took me probably 18 months. I did one small mentoring program with Glenn Campbell. And that was a small one-off kind of program on personal branding, which was really good. And then I was really, I really wanted to see the outcomes. And so I think that the confidence, the thing that sort of held me back was the confidence to know that the outcomes would come. So in exchange for the money, like a large amount of money, the fact that I'm actually going to physically get the outcome. I think for me, that was my barrier. I think commitments of time. We've been talking lots lately on these videos and on the podcast about, to do more, you've got to do less. I didn't realize that at the time. So I really want to get that message across to you guys today, that to do more, which is achieve that, you guys all know that you're destined for something really big. You guys all know you're destined for something more than what you're doing right now. You know it deep down in your heart. You think about it and you dream about it. And really the gap there is execution. And so I think that you've got to do less of something, and to achieve that more, to achieve that thing that you're destined to do, you've got to be constantly auditing last week. So it's a rhetorical question. It's a perpetual question. Audit last week. What did you do last week that now, as you look back, the benefit of hindsight, we talk about the benefit of hindsight. Oh, that'd be great. The benefit of hindsight. Well, hindsight's amazing, and use it. It's absolutely incredible, because you can look back at last week and you go, well, that was a waste of time. I shouldn't have done that actually, but you do it again and you do it again and you do it again. And so I think that what I started to realize was that I needed to create the space to do more, because I knew I would get more work. And in fact, there's some online courses that I've signed up for, and I've got great, I've gone through the marketing funnel online and I've bought the online course, and I'm sure this is relevant for a bunch of people, but I haven't done the content because I didn't make the space for it. So I haven't stopped doing something to allow me to do it. Do I know that I'm going to get massive dividends out of it? Absolutely yes. Is it huge value for money? Absolutely yes. But I've got to stop doing something in order to move forward. So I've been thinking about that a lot, the last 24, 48 hours. What do I need to stop doing? So I think, Nick, to answer your question there about the barriers to starting with a coach, I think that, people aren't clear on, well, where am I going to fit it in? I know I'm going to need to do more work. You know, I think we all go into that concept. If I get a coach or a career coach or a career mentor, that, you know, I know I'm going to have to do more. And so they won't commit because they're like, oh, I'm going to have more work to do. So we've got to go in with, okay, what are we going to stop doing? So, you know, with healthy eating, you know, 50% of healthy eating is about stop the unhealthy eating, you know? And so, you know, I think that for me were, you know, those were my elements. Got some comments from Stan over there on YouTube. I find the time balance, the running off versus running in the business is the hardest. I agree. So, you know, working in the business versus working on the business. Andrew Mckenzie took me through a concept, red, blue, black. Over in the Scaling Up program, Stan, we talk about strategy, and we also talk about delegate and elevate. And that's you know, that's the program. We put them up. They're on the Butcher's paper from a live webinar like 2 weeks ago, where we talked about, you know, the must-dos, the should-dos, the nice-to-dos. So, Stan, I think my piece of advice to you there is I agree. It's definitely something I've struggled on. You can see I'm getting quite good at it, working on the business, not in the business. But for me, this is working in the business, but it's also the most valuable thing that I can be doing. So, Stan, I think there is a, you know, I saw your Facebook post yesterday, and you know, I agree. You know, you also got to choose. Don't feel guilty about this, but your activities the last couple of days, I've been very jealous of, in terms of what you're doing for work. You know, for everyone out there, I'm going to throw Stan under the bus and say he's been riding jet skis the last couple of days for work. You know, doing testing and accreditation and training courses, and that's excellent. But that's working in the business. Now that's a fun. You know, Stan's chosen that, and mate, you know, that's excellent. And I love doing this too. So, you know, this is me working in the business. This is me riding jet skis. You know, that's you riding jet skis, and that's excellent. But all jokes aside, I think we've got to constantly be looking at what's the most valuable piece of work that we can be doing. What are the must-dos? You know, what are the should-dos and what are the nice-to-dos? And it's the nice-to-dos that sometimes get us caught up. And for a lot of people, nice-to-do is filing emails. I don't do that. I don't check my email till 9 p.m. at night. Think about that. Kobe doesn't check his email till 9 p.m. at night. The people that are close to me know that they can get to me via text message. I'm in back-to-back meetings every single day of the week. Do I want to be in back-to-back meetings every single day of the week? No, I'm feeling a little bit burnt out at the moment. And so I need to actually wind that back. I'm getting anxious because I haven't finished writing my book. Everyone's waiting for me to finish it. You guys, I know there's a bunch of you guys waiting for me to finish it, but meetings are getting in the way of that and I'm not getting to it. So I think from my perspective, yes, I'm getting caught up in the running of the business, and I'm not getting that work on the business kind of stuff. And I think working in your career versus working on your career. So that's the same. We talk about working in the business versus working on the business, working in your career versus working on your career. That's why I read for 30 minutes to an hour every single morning, and even catching time during the day to read. And I buy as many books as I possibly can, and then I register what's in each of the books by reading the contents page. Then when I have a challenge or something I need to work on, I'll go and read that section. And so I have an expectation. Everybody that is drawn to this video, everyone that's seeing this video, everyone that's listening right now, whether it's the podcast, LinkedIn, YouTube, whether you're watching this video right now, you're a particular type of person. So there's lots of people not watching this around the world. But because you're watching this, I have an expectation that you guys are reading for 30 minutes. And that's every single person right now, including the interns, including everyone here in the studio. I'm talking to all of you. Because you are consuming this content, I have an expectation that you guys would be reading for a minimum of 30 minutes every day, because you are a high performance individual. The fact that you're drawn to this content, you're involved in this content, you're already a high performance individual, and high performance individuals, athletes, sprinters, Olympians, sailors, kayakers, figure skaters, poker players, rock stars, artists, Instagram people, we're all studying every day. And when you study high performance people, you will see that there are systems and processes built into their day that keep them improving and keep them growing their results. So even Luke, who's got 15,000 followers on his Instagram page, the secret behind Instagram book just turned up in his office. That's the whole history of Instagram and how it's built and how it works and everything. That kind of going and buying that book yourself and reading that book is a good example. This is marketing by Seth Godin. So it's, it's consuming that professional development material every day and starting to think about what it needs to be. If a business day is 8 hours, it needs to be 1 hour. So what's that, 15%? So it needs to be 15% of your day. And when I think about my day being 24 hours, trying to get a bit of sleep, that's why I do an hour. So you need to be thinking about, an hour to 2 hours. Best practice would be 2 hours of reading every single day, in perpetuity. And around the problems and challenges that you've got, that you can forecast you've got in your career or going ahead. Now, I know that's going to sound tough. And so that's why we come back to this conversation about having a business coach. If you're not getting to that and you're not getting to that strategy, I'm obviously a high performance individual, but you want to be starting to have that person come in once a week, once a fortnight, once a month, once a quarter, and actually do that with you. So at least you're doing it. Because I went for 10 years without reading a book, without doing any study. I did all the technical laws and regulations of the advisory work we do for clients. I went all the way down those rabbit warrens, but I didn't do the work on the business stuff. I didn't do the work on my career. And I got stuck in a rut, and I wasn't growing. And if you go back to one of the very first videos on our YouTube channel, you'll see a video at the start of that journey where Nick Fagan, who's actually watching this live on LinkedIn right now, is being interviewed on that video, and he said Kobe has embarked on a personal development journey, and you can trace the history. You can see the whole history documented on our YouTube channel of that process. So what are you doing on a day-to-day basis? We're going to talk more about the habits of highly successful people tomorrow in tomorrow's webinar. In this live stream for you guys, and I'm going to go through some of those things that I do on a day-to-day basis, and I want you to be thinking about what's your version of that. So it's not necessarily that you go ahead and do that, but what's your version of that, because that's going to give you success. Now, whether your success is having a relaxed lifestyle that's got some financial stability that allows you to do the things you want to do, or whether you want to take over the world and be the next US president, maybe you don't want to be that, particularly when there's a coronavirus pandemic going on. But whatever your goals and aspirations might be, you can start to think about it. We're going to go through that tomorrow in the live stream. But today was really to talk about the value of having a coach come on board, having somebody actually push you and mentor you and become the average of the people that you hang out. And it's about accessibility, paying for accessibility. The end of 2019, beginning of 2020, we're all about marketing, live streaming, social media, that kind of stuff. So I went and did a mentoring program with Gary Vaynerchuk, or Gary V. So for those of you that follow us and watching these live streams, got a personal connection with Team Gary V, David Rock, Gary Vaynerchuk, the team over there at VaynerMedia, Equally Success Resources with Michael Lane, Simon Hodge. Those guys at Success Resources have facilitated the program. Not only that, I've ended up in a Facebook group of all the high performance people that went to that program, and we all network with each other, and we're friends now, and we comment on that stuff. You're talking about 20 high performance people that were all part of that program, all networking with each other. I've got a few of them that are going to come on to the YouTube channel. In fact, we're going to be doing an interview next Thursday in 8 days time with Dylan Mullen, who I met through that program, the CEO of Happy Skin Company, and he's going to talk about his success story. I'm going to bring him on for you guys. I'm going to bring on Darren Dinkle from D&G over in Colorado, D&G Contractors over in Colorado. So some of the people that were in that program, I'm going to be interviewing them and talking about their success story and what they're doing. So I'm going to bring those guys to you over the next couple of weeks. I've become the average of those people that I hang out because I'm trying to lift myself up. And why do I do that? Because I'm a I can see Stan Wall's comment there about being a very hard day of work on the jet skis. Nice one, Stan. Why do I want to lift myself up? Well, I want to make myself, I'm a lazy person. I just want to make it all a little bit easier. If I can make it a bit easier to run the business, if I can make it a bit easier to help people achieve their goals, if I can make life a bit easier for you guys as customers, then that just makes sense, right? And I can create some more freedom, some more financial freedom, some more life freedom for everybody that's part of this process. That's my goal. Work smart, not hard. And so if you are feeling it's a grind, if you're feeling it's a struggle, then, getting some information from a business coach, getting some information from a career coach, maybe they can unlock a few of the challenges. You can clear that blockage, and you can just get a little bit of a clearer run to achieving your goals. Okay, has anyone got any questions? How's this information been going for you guys? So Stan, Nick, all the regulars on board this morning. Where's everybody watching from today? We've got lots of best practice people there, I see. Who's online from the Best Practice team? Good morning, Joe. Thanks for joining us. Joe Dixon, Luke Antrim, everybody, you guys here in the studio. Who else have we got up there on, I can't see on the LinkedIn live stream. Any more comments, questions? No, all good. So if you have enjoyed this content, hit that like button for me. Who's this up here? So hit that like button for me if you've enjoyed this content. Hit the subscribe button if you've come to us over here on YouTube and you've really enjoyed this video. Next video, I'm going to take the spinning chair away so I can't swing backwards and forwards on the chair. I don't even realize I'm doing it till I see the screen. So I apologize for that. So yeah, if you have enjoyed the Cobra Summit audio experience, please hit me up with a message, direct message on LinkedIn, and I'm always happy to respond. Luke is going to give me some comments. Hey Mario, thanks for joining us as well. Over in Virginia in the US, thanks very much for joining us. Good to have you on board today as well. So if you are watching this after the recording, please comment also below. Lots more coming to you from the Best Practice Studio. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about the habits of highly successful people that I've picked up, that I use, that I implement, what's worked, what hasn't worked. And I'll give you a spoiler alert. I'm not very good at journaling. So lots of people talking about journaling. I'm not aware of all of the wealthiest people that I know. And I know some pretty wealthy people. None of them journal. So, if journaling works for you, that's absolutely fantastic. But if making money and being successful in your career or in your, in your business, I don't know anybody that journals. So, hey, we got someone, Jerome from Houston in Texas. Welcome. And you're very welcome, always very welcome. So yeah, let me know where you are watching from. I love to see where everyone is from all around the world. We always get people from all over the world on these live streams. So good to hear from you guys. I'm stand by. Okay, so just getting a text message there. So just in terms of what we are going to talk about, that's a question about what we're talking about tomorrow. We're going to talk about some of the highly successful habits of people and what has worked for me. And I'm going to say that journaling hasn't worked for me. I tell you what does work, and I just wanted to quickly show it to you, and I'll go through it tomorrow, is my day book. This is my day book, and if you look at some of the really wealthy people out there in the world, and look, money is not the root of all evil. No money is the root of all evil. People that don't have money are the people that are the robbers and the thieves and the criminals. Yes, there's some very rich criminals as well, but there's exceptions to the rule. But money is not the root of all evil. No money is the root of all evil. And so, the successful people that I know have to-do lists, and they just write stuff down and they get it done. And so we're going to be talking tomorrow about that. We're going to be talking tomorrow about some of the tips from Brian Tracy's Focal Point. Some of those people are much better teachers than I am, and so I'll make some really good book recommendations for you guys from a couple of the people that I follow and I've met through my life that are really good. And you can start to use things like your social media to give you an accelerated boost. So a lot of people worry that social media is a handicap. I actually use it as a motivator and a boost. And so I only follow people that are lifting me up. So I become the average of the people that I follow on Instagram. I become the average of the people that, are my business coaches and my mentors. And I get inputs from lots of places that give me motivation to just get in, execute, write the to-do list, sort the priorities out, do the must-dos first, delegate the nice to-dos, and the do and the delegate strategy. I'll talk more about that. So if you haven't got a business coach or a career coach, set yourself a goal before the end of 2020 to start looking around for somebody to help you. If there's nobody within your direct proximity, all of our coaches at Next Practice are available online. We can organize a call with them. You can even organize a call with me. We can talk about how I could potentially help you with some coaching and mentoring, or one of the coaches at Next Practice. Find out what the cost is, set yourself a goal. Maybe your family can contribute to some coaching sessions, either for your career or for your business, even 1 or 2 sessions to get you started. Measure the value from that, and then maybe you can reinvest that value in some further sessions down the track, because at the end of the day, it should be cost positive, not cost negative. So you want to be actually making more money, having more success, achieving your goals faster, actually achieving those things that you dream for, and getting closer to that thing that you know that you're destined to be in the future. That's what this is all about. It's not about being a downside. That's the biggest mistake I made, was worrying that if I spend the money, it's gone. And what if I fail? And it was like that. I was worried about failure. I wasn't thinking about the upside. So focus on the upside. So in thinking about the next 3 months for you, what does success look like in your career? In thinking about the next 6 months, what does success look like in your career? And can a business coach or a career coach actually help you to achieve those goals? Absolutely yes is the answer to that question. I can either help you find the right one, or we can provide one of the ones from Next Practice. So I just want to thank everybody for your time today on the live stream. I'm going to see you tomorrow with more content on high performance habits and the habits of successful people. We're going to go through some of the content from Brian Tracy. I'm going to give you the do's and don'ts that I use. You can tell me some of the do's and don'ts for you. I'd appreciate getting your questions ready for tomorrow. These live streams are for you guys. Dominate those comments. I appreciate all of our regulars. Thanks very much, and I look forward to seeing everybody out and about right here next time on Best Practice TV. Bye for now.